Hello and welcome everyone to the next edition of the main event Figure Federation. I am the leader of the Jakk brand. I am Troy, and joining me to war on this Monday night, he is the leader of the Overdrive brand. He's Greg. What's up, Greg?
What up?
We have just had our first pay-per-view yesterday. I hope you all enjoyed it. It was Rage in the Cage for Jakk'd and Ignition for Greg. Greg he closed the show with Ignition. I think he and I are putting our best feet forward going on into the end of November and on into December. And we're not, for anybody who's kept up with us, we do rundowns at the beginning of the show, usually of what happened last week, kind of segment versus segment. But we're not doing that today, and I think we're going to scrap it all together because we really want to incentivize everybody to go back and listen to the previous show. Greg and I were talking about it off air, and he was telling me, he said he thinks that's the best way to go, and I agree. I think you should all, if you want to catch up, go back and listen to it, man. It's the best way. But how do you feel?
You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're going to enjoy this, you're going to enjoy that. And, kind of keep up with everything. And, I would like you to go through all the archives of the Main Event Fig Federation every Monday and listen to all of them. But even if you just listen to the previous week, we kind of catch you up. You'll be caught up enough, I'll say. And I really want to incentivize everybody. Go back and listen to the pay-per-view show that we dropped yesterday. I don't know about you, Greg. I was very proud of what we pulled off.
I was too. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed all of it, and
that's a Barry Horowitz ourselves.
Yeah, right. Kudos to anybody who gets that reference. Yeah, and all in all, I thought it was a good time had by all, man. And there were some things I had to change up. Luckily, we had set a record time. Had to bump it back a couple times, and I was kind of thankful for that because as I'm going through things, I'm like, oh, crap, I worded this wrong, or I need to change that, or whatever. So you ended up helping me out not to completely crap all over my own pay-per-view. So I guess thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Yeah. But moving forward, we are on the march to our second pay-per-views ever. We announced them yesterday with the first pay-per-views. In December, Overdrive is bringing you Indestructible, is their last pay-per-view of the year, and my last pay-per-view of the year for Jakk'd will be Winter Jam. So we're marching forward to that. New champions were crowned last night. New champions will be crowned moving forward, and I'm looking forward to what we do in December. But before we get into all of that, Greg, since I went first for the pay-per-view yesterday, I will give the floor to you first off and have you start off our last show of November, man. The turkey has been eaten. We are putting up the Christmas decorations. We're pulling out the ho-ho-hos and the big red sack full of gifts.
Ah, wow.
I'm trying to get them all in. Come on.
I think you did.
The creepy guy with the beard that slips in your house in the middle of the night and, drops stuff in your living room.
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry. All right. Anyway.
I don't say any of that.
Well, it's our November 30th edition of the Monday Night Wars, Jakk versus Overdrive. Overdrive has the floor to start with after this quick break. Are you going to be ready, Greg?
I think so.
Okay, well...
I'm always ready.
Well, are you hype?
No, I just stay hyped.
Okay, well, I was just making sure. All right, but on the other side of this break, you're going to hear a ring bell, you're going to hear some commercials, and you're going to hear another ring bell, and then some Billy Idol to start off with.
Hopefully no more stupid innuendos. Okay.
Well, that one I can't promise, Greg.
All right.
Come on. But, all right. Well, on the other end of this break, you're going to hear Billy Idol, and that is the beginning of Overdrive.
All right, hello. Welcome to Overdrive. We cut right to the arena with Pete Dunne making his way out with his new Overdrive championship. He opens the show and says, I didn't make any claims like anyone else last night. My silence spoke volumes. Last night, Bobby Roode, Johnny Gargano were great opponents, but not good enough. As long as I'm champ, everybody else will be second best. As for Finn Balor, if you think making some grand entrance during my title celebration is going to make you big, sadly you're mistaken. And as for my first opponent, Andrade, you're just another bump in the road. At Indestructible, you will be paved. Segment 2. Elias makes his way out. No musical performance tonight. He says nobody deserves to hear him sing tonight. He's only looking for a fight. And his opponent comes out. All right. Johnny Gargano comes out. We have our match. All right. Elias gets the upper hand early. Gargano makes his comeback. Gargano locks on the Gargano escape. Elias reaches the rope. Both men to their feet. Gargano goes for a super kick. Elias catches the foot. Hits a hard right. Gargano is stunned. Elias hits stripped away for the win. As he walks off, Johnny Wrestling looks sad again. And if anyone's keeping track, he did lose the main event last night. All right. This is going to be kind of a short show, folks. It's designed that way, I promise. All right, segment 3. Red Dragon comes out to the ring. Kyle O'Reilly is on the microphone, really mad, saying last night the Major Brothers scored an upset victory over the best team in the entire world. The Majors then enter the arena. All right. Ryder says, "Are you kidding me, bro? We didn't beat the best team in the world last night. We beat Red Dragon." Hawkins says, every team should think highly of themselves, but you guys are a little too crazy. Bobby Fish grabs a mic, demands a rematch. Majors accept. We have our match as we cut to commercial break. Segment 4. Back from commercial. Match is underway. Fish and Hawkins are battling. Lots of tags. We get to Fish and Hawkins again. Fish hits a devastating roundhouse kick. Gets a 2 count. Hawkins catches a surprise roll-up, but this time Fish kicks out. He tags in O'Reilly, who rushes at Ryder, knocking him off the apron. They signal for chasing the Dragon. They hit it on Hawkins, and they win. Red Dragon leave, mocking the Major Brothers. Segment 5. Finn Balor comes to the ring, gets on the mic and says, I am on Overdrive to be the top guy, and having the championship will solidify that. Pete Dunne, please realize it's nothing personal. All of a sudden we hear the music hit of Tommaso Ciampa. He tells Balor, you know what's funny? You and everyone around here seem to think that the Overdrive title is special. If you want to be the guy around here, you need this. And he holds up the United States title and taunts Balor with it. Balor smiles and says, I respect you. You may not believe it, but I do. You really want me to challenge for that? Ciampa smiles and waves bye to Balor. And then the music for Balor's opponent comes on. All right. Buddy Murphy hits the ring as we crash to commercial break. Okay, back from commercial. Balor's controlling. Murphy hits some rights and stuns Balor. He goes up top, hits Meteora for a 2 count. Murphy picks up Balor for a brainbuster, but Balor knees Murphy in the head, drops down, hits a sling blade, gets a 2 count. Balor picks up Murphy, but Murphy shoves him back, runs to the corner to attack. Balor moves and runs at Murphy in the corner with a drop kick, pushing Murphy into the corner, then falling to the mats. Balor goes to the top rope, points at Ciampa, who's on top of the ramp, hits the coup de grace for the win. Balor celebrates as Ciampa heads to the back. Segment 7. Backstage, we see Ciampa walking, and he sees Baron Corbin. Corbin's still upset about last night, angrily looks at Ciampa. Ciampa then pulls some keys out of his pocket, holds them up, and smiles. Corbin angrily launches at Ciampa, but security is there to hold him back. Ciampa smiles, walks off. Andrade is standing by. He's asked about his title shot. He says Pete Dunne is a tough man, but at the end of the day, he's a little English pollo and an indestructible. He's going to be his chihuahua. All right. Okay. Segment 9. All right, Cesaro enters, and out next is his opponent.
Ain't no stopping me, no. You can't rob a man, no stop. You can't rob a man, no stop.
Shelton Benjamin, the winless Shelton Benjamin, makes his way to the ring. Gorilla Monsoon mentions how Shelton is his pick of guy to watch in 2021. Corey says, Gorilla, in the words of Billy Kay, are you joking me? This man couldn't win a fixed game. Super competitive match. Shelton catches a Dragon Whip for a 2, goes for a springboard, gets caught with Swiss Death for a 2 count. Cesaro grabs Shelton's legs for a big swing, but Shelton rolls Cesaro up for a very close 2 count. Shelton is starting to feel it. He hits T-Bone Suplex for a 2. He starts to look frustrated, but takes a deep breath, calms down. He picks up Cesaro, jumps up for pay dirt, but Cesaro one-hand slams Shelton down, picks him up, hits the neutralizer for the win. Cesaro leaves. Shelton sits up in the ring, visibly angry and frustrated again. Okay. Segment 9. Corey Graves is in the ring with an update from the GM. He says, we're 1 month in and things are going great. I have a few announcements to make. As everybody knows from earlier tonight, the main event of Indestructible will be Pete Dunne defending the Overdrive Championship against Andrade. Also on that night, we'll crown new tag team champions when the 2 teams I deem the top 2 teams face off. One of those teams will be the Viking Raiders. Other opponents to be determined. My other announcement is that next week there will be a series of matches. Whoever I determine to have the most impressive performance will face Tommaso Ciampa for the United States title next week in the main event. Segment 10. Okay, Baron Corbin enters. He says, once again, the GM is sending his stupid letters and he is sick of it. He's sick of looking like a fool, sick of being attacked left and right, and sick of not having a GM around to keep order. He approaches Corey Graves, grabs him by the shirt, and says he wants to know where the GM is. Corey looks Corbin right in the eyes and swears he knows nothing about the GM other than the notes he gets. Corbin believes him, but says he's going on a hunt and will expose the GM in time. And as for Ciampa, your time is coming as well. And then Corbin's opponent comes out. All right, we get Ricochet as we crash to commercial break. Back from break, Corbin is beating on Ricochet. He whips Ricochet into the rope, rebounds with a spinning elbow. Corbin is stunned. Ricochet goes for a Hurricane Rana. Corbin is down. Ricochet goes to the top rope, hits a 630. Pin attempt, but Baron gets his foot on the rope at 2. Ricochet refuses to slow down. He runs at Corbin, but eats a big boot. Corbin whips him to the rope, catches him for the end of days. Ricochet manages to turn into a DDT. He quickly hits a standing moonsault for the surprise 3. He rolls out of the ring laughing at Corbin. Corbin stands up, kicking the ropes, yelling at the top of his lungs as we fade to black.
All right. End of show?
End of show. I'm trying to keep it a little bit short. I think people will be more engaged if it's not that long.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, some of mine are a little longer because, I pointed out before, I'm kind of a writer. So when I get in, like, sometimes I get into, and I used to do e-fetting. Do you remember fantasy wrestling back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to do that all the time and write promos and stuff, and I kind of miss it. So this is my outlet. But yeah, so I'm trying
writing
to write
a television show, bro.
Television program. You know, as a pure television viewer, bro, I'm entertained by this. I'm never gonna forget him saying that as long as I live.
Well, he put over himself.
Well, of course he did.
I just laugh at that. I'm entertained by this, bro.
Yeah, it's like, of freaking course you are, Vince Russo. Like, you're the only one. But
I think I
anyway.
heard that. I think I rewound it and heard it like 12,000 times.
Yeah.
He didn't say that, right? He did. Wait, no, I still don't believe it. Did he? He really said that?
Yeah, he's putting himself over. Of course he is. Why would he not put himself over?
I'm Vince
Yeah.
freaking Russo, bro.
Yeah. He's like the wrestling cockroach. He keeps popping up. Him and Jim Cornette.
Someone keeps giving him a job, though. That's the thing.
I know. Blame Dixie Carter for the last, I don't know how many years of that, but yeah, so
02 to 12, so 10 years?
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, so that was the return edition from the pay-per-view of Overdrive. There are 3 more until the next pay-per-view, Indestructible. We're marching on. So let's take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into Jakk'd, the first edition after Rage in a Cage. All right, hello and welcome everyone to Monday Night Jakk'd, 1 night removed from Rage in a Cage. I'm good old JR, joined by my broadcast colleague, Jerry the King Lawler. We're getting tonight started off hot. Chris Jericho's theme hits. He makes his way he makes his entrance to the ring in his flashy street clothes that he always used to wear back in the day. Now he just wears weird crap, but back then he always used to. Think of King of the World era, where everything was shiny. But anyway, he comes to the ring with his brand new junior heavyweight title around his waist. And he gets into the ring. The ring is decked out with chairs and a television hanging in the center of the ring. It's all set up for the highlight reel. Jericho grabs a mic off of one of the chairs and he says, "Welcome to Monday Night Jericho. I am your benevolent leader who proved yet again that I am the king of the world last night by becoming the first ever crowned champion in Jakk'd history. I am the Ayatollah of rock and rolla. I am Chris Jericho. And this is the first Main Event Figure Federation edition of the highlight reel." Cue the opening. All right. The first edition of the highlight reel under the Main Event Figure Federation is underway. He says, "Now that I know you're all wondering who could possibly be awesome enough, great enough, interesting enough, and massively famous enough to be the first guest on the highlight reel here in the Main Event Figure Federation. Well, let me introduce you to my guest. He is the junior heavyweight champion of the world, Chris Jericho." Now, Chris, in honor of having you on I'm very honored to have you here on the highlight reel. Why, thank you, Chris. It's a big pleasure to be here. Now, Chris, you had all the odds stacked against you last night. Not only did Commissioner Eric Bischoff put you in a fatal 4-way match, but he threw you inside of a steel cage with a tiny masked freak, a loose cannon, and an absolute Canadian assassin. But like you always do, you overcame the odds to become the first champion in Jakk'd history. What was that like? And as he's about to answer himself, we hear Rey Mysterio's music hits, and he comes to the ring to interrupt Chris Jericho's self-interview. Rey's actually smiling. He's in good spirits here tonight, and he climbs in the ring with a microphone. Chris says, "Rey, I'm not sure if you're thrown off by all the chairs, the special segment opening that I had produced, or the insanely expensive Geritron 5000 behind me, or me standing here with a microphone in my hand, but this is my time." Rey says, "Chris, I know it's your time, but I wanted to congratulate you on your win last night. I've never really liked you, but I've always respected you. You won fair and square, but I was just a hair away from winning. I could almost taste the victory, but you may be the first junior heavyweight champion, but I want to be the second. Chris Jericho says, what do I look like to you? Canadian Santa Claus? You've got to earn your title shots around here, Ray Ray. Take a number and get to the back of the line, Skippy. And now we hear Commissioner Eric Bischoff's music hits. He comes onto the stage with a microphone. He says, sorry to interrupt the time that I so graciously gave you to talk on my show, Chris, but I've got to admit, you are right. Rey Mysterio does have to earn his championship opportunities around here. That's a chance. There's checks and balances here on Jakk'd. So next week, I'm going to give you the opportunity to earn your spot in a one-night tournament. Rey Mysterio will take on Flying Brian Pillman, and Owen Hart will take on the newest addition to the Jakk'd roster, the Dynamite Kid. The winner of those two matches will meet later in the night, and the winner of that match will face Chris Jericho for the junior heavyweight title at our second pay-per-view here in December, Winter Jam. Now get the hell out of my ring so we can have some actual wrestling matches. Jericho's seething about his segment being repeatedly interrupted, and Rey Mysterio is nodding and smiling in approval. We go to commercial break. All right, we come back from commercial, and who is standing in the ring but Jerry the King Lawler with a microphone in his hand. He's no longer on commentary. He says, now I'm sure you jagaloons and peons just loved seeing me floundering here so far in the Main Event Figure Federation. Ha ha ha. It's just so funny to see me getting blindsided week after week, because quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of it. A king deserves better than this. And right now, because I've not given myself opportunities, or I've been not given the opportunities I so rightfully deserve, I've had to make another opportunity for myself. I've asked Commissioner Eric Bischoff to give me any opponent. I'll take them on right here tonight, and after I beat them, I want a shot at whoever wins the TV title here tonight. Predictably, Bischoff booked me against his good old pal, Diamond Dallas Page. I haven't had long to prepare since I'm also doing my job as a world-class commentator. But let's bring old DDP down here. And now, we're getting a lot of weird matchups with Jerry Lawler here, but it is what it is. But after...
I'm liking that.
Yeah, I throw him in the ring with whoever. But, yeah, after Lawler cuts his promo, we get...
That's me. It's DDP.
The Bang Man comes out. The crowd goes nuts. We haven't seen him since, I think, the first week of Jakk'd last month. Jerry Lawler says, DDP, hold on a second. I know you've been doing your yoga. You got all limbered up. But if you'll grant me just a minute, I need to do my exercises as well. And he puts the mic aside. DDP shrugs. Lawler, I forgot to mention, is holding his crown in one hand, by the way, and he's doing some squats while holding his crown out in front of him and staring at it. DDP's getting annoyed, and he turns to the referee. He's like, what the hell's going on here? Just then, Lawler jumps up and he blasts DDP in the face with his crown. He mounts DDP and just hammer fists him repeatedly in the eyebrow, busting him open. Lawler gets on the second rope. He drops the fist onto DDP's face. The referee backs Lawler off, and Lawler repeatedly shouts at the ref to start the match. DDP's busted open and he's groggy. He tries talking DDP into forfeiting the match, but DDP refuses to do that. He finally uses the corner to stagger up to his feet, and he tells him, he's like, ring the bell, I'm good to go. And the ref rings the bell. Lawler charges in with a clothesline, but Page ducks. Lawler turns. DDP nails a diamond cutter out of nowhere. He has just enough strength to roll Lawler over and cover him for the 1, 2, 3. The crowd goes nuts. DDP is your winner. And he gives a thumbs up and everything. He's still bleeding and not feeling too good. We go to commercial break again. Seg 3. DDP's interviewed in the back. in the back. DDP is being cleaned up by a medic. Well, he's sitting on a medical table. Don Callis comes in. He asks him how he's feeling after being jumped before the match. And how he feels to be on the winning track here in the main event Figure Federation. DDP says, by now, Don, we all know that Jerry Lawler is, or who Jerry Lawler is and what he's all about. This was just no shock to anyone. But I'll tell you what I want, or I'll tell you what. Victory is the sweetest revenge. And now that I beat the Burger King, I think I'm owed that television title match that he was going on about. Now, after he says that, Jerry Lawler rushes into the room and he starts beating away on DDP. DDP shoves Lawler into the wall, but Lawler comes back, starts beating on him again. They spill out of the room into the hall. They fight all over. Lawler's picking up anything he can, like pop cans and trays of food, and throwing them at DDP, just beating him all over the place. And DDP tries to fight back, but Lawler just hammering away at him. Security finally breaks them both up and drags them off. And they send Lawler back to the commentary table. So that's the end of Seg 3. Seg 4, Armando Alejandro Estrada standing by with Ric Flair, who has his back to the camera so you can see the Nature Boy written on his back, the back of his robe. Estrada asked Flair about his actions last night at Rage in a Cage, where he attacked Hogan with a chair. Flair says, every single week here on Jakk'd, all I hear about is Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan this, Hulk Hogan that. He gets all the hype, all the airtime here on Jakk'd. And, of course, they had him main event our first ever pay-per-view inside of a steel cage. And I had to sit by and watch him take care of my light work with The Rock and then ham it all up for those easily impressed idiots in the crowd. So I had to make sure that the Hulkster knew what was waiting for him in the finals. And it was the 16-time world champion, the Nature Boy, Ric by God Flair. But then Brett had to stick his Canadian nose into my business. Brett, for years and years, you've been bitter and that you never lived up to me or even Hogan. Tonight, I hope that you bring all that bitterness with you into the ring so I can make you choke on it. Tonight, the Nature Boy delivers the kill shot to the Hitman. Woo! We go to another commercial break. For those that don't know, I mean, Greg kind of said it at the beginning. It was joking, but not really. At the top of the show, I'm writing more like Attitude Era style, where the matches are just, helping push the story along. But there's a lot of story on this one. Sorry about that for
television show.
Yeah. So I'm glad you kept yours short because mine's a little long this week. They'll shorten up in the future, but there's a lot of storyline I got to push here. Anyway, Seg 5. We come back from a commercial break and we hear Diesel's music hits, and he comes to the ring to a chorus of boos. The big man looks pretty depressed. He's hanging his head. He's not his usual cocky self. And he grabs a microphone. He waits for a minute. He looks like he's really thinking about what he's got to say. And he says, last week, to open Jakk'd, I stood in the corner of Shawn Michaels as he took on Bret Hart in the heavyweight title tournament. When the referee was knocked out, I jackknife powerbombed one of my oldest, best friends in the world to cost him his match. After the match, I powerbombed him twice more. Because of this, I've been asked by Commissioner Eric Bischoff to come out and explain my actions to the world. I thought long and hard about this, and I can't come up with a simple answer. My stomach has been in knots all week. My actions, quite frankly, make me sick to think about. Shawn didn't deserve it, so I want to bring out the Heartbreak Kid so I can talk to him man to man and ask for his forgiveness. After that, we get the crowd explodes. We hear Shawn Michaels' music, but there's nobody. Nobody comes out on the stage. Diesel's watching. Then the music finally stops, and Diesel instantly breaks out in hysterical laughter as he points at the now booing fans as they realize Shawn Michaels isn't coming out. And he says, "You idiots fell for it. Holy crap. You're as dumb as you look. Shawn isn't here tonight. In fact, no one's heard from Shawn all damn week. You know why? Because he's a worthless, washed up, used up, no longer sexy boy toy. And I broke and I threw him in the trash. He's outlived his usefulness. It's his fault I'm not the Jack Tag champion right now, and it's his fault I'm not going to Winter Jam to wrestle for the Jacked Heavyweight title. And guess what? You cost me, I cost you. Sean got taught a lesson last week that he won't soon forget. Don't cross Big Daddy Cool, and don't take money out of my pocket. Everyone keeps whining and crying at me, but Big D, he's your best friend. Why? How? I don't owe you a damn explanation past what I already gave you. Let this be a warning to everyone in the back. You get in the way of a diesel truck, you're going to get run over. Diesel's music hits again. He heads up the ramp. But he's stopped by Razor Ramon on the stage, who comes out and he's pleading with Diesel. He says, "Come on, Chico. You know this ain't right. What's going on, hermano?" And Diesel gives Razor a blank stare, and then he just walks past him to the locker rooms like he wasn't even there. But all right, 6-6. Going into the second hour here, we have the triple threat for the Jacked television title. Bro. I don't know why I threw the bro in there, but it just seemed to fit. All right. First up, we get Mr. Perfect makes his way to the ring. He is the first entrant in the triple threat match. Next up, Stunning Steve Austin. And he's coming to the ring alone. He doesn't have Flying Brian with him tonight. He wants to do this one all on his lonesome. And then finally, Rob Van Dam is the third entrant in the triple threat. Here we go. They ring the bell, and we're off. Mr. Perfect and Steve Austin try to out-cheat each other, and Rob Van Dam uses his speed to gain short advantages here and there. At one point, Flying Brian Pillman does run down to the ring, and he throws RVD outside and beats on him. RVD ends up dodging a by the way, you know, for those that are like, well, why isn't it a DQ? There's no DQ in triple threats. But anyway, RVD ends up dodging a clothesline from Pillman on the outside, who connects with a ring post. Inside the ring, Steve Austin is setting up for the stun gun, but Mr. Perfect ends up turning it into a small package, and Austin kicks out at 2.5. RVD lays Pillman across the guardrail, gets on the apron, does his Rob Van Dam, and then the spinning leg drop in the back of Pillman. Back inside, Mr. Perfect nails a perfect plex on Steve Austin, but RVD jumps to the top rope. He hits a 5-star frog splash on the bridging Mr. Perfect. This breaks up the pin. RVD crawls on top of Mr. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, your winner and television champion of the world, Rob Van Dam. All right, so we now move into Seg 7. Armando Alejandro Estrada opens up a door into the arena's dark boiler room. He looks weirded out as he walks through. Finally sees Mankind in the corner of the room. He's muttering to himself and rocking back and forth. Estrada asks him what he's doing in the boiler room. Mankind says, "Every arena has a boiler room. It's dark, it's dank, it's dirty, it's dingy, and it's noisy as hell. That's exactly what I need to keep me in the right frame of mind for what I need to do in the ring." And Estrada says, after you got involved with The Undertaker in The Rock's match last week, The Undertaker didn't seem too happy with you. I want to know, or I wouldn't want to be in your shoes, Armando. What's your next move? And Mankind says, "You know, Armando, I like you. You ask inquisitive questions. Inquiring minds want to know, Mankind, now that The Undertaker wants to kill you, what are you going to do? I'm not too hard to find, Armando. If The Undertaker really wanted me dead, I'd be dead. But, so I'm getting ahead of the curve. I know The Undertaker isn't here tonight, so I'm challenging him to a match next week. A hardcore match, to be exact. That'll put us both on an even playing field. But tonight, I need to prepare. So how else would I prepare, Armando? I'm issuing a hardcore open challenge to anyone who thinks that they're hardcore and crazy enough to take me on. The challenge is for anyone on Jakk'd, Overdrive, the camera crew, the production truck, the Sunoco station down the road, or the Walmart here in town. If you show up, we're going to get hardcore, and you will not have a nice day. Armando Estrada motions to the camera guy, and they rush out of the boiler room as Mankind starts muttering to himself and pulling his hair out. Now we go to commercial break. All right, Seg 8. Again, sorry for the promos and stuff, but I'm setting up for the rest of the month. Seg 8. Mankind comes to the ring. He sits in the corner, rocking back and forth, and he grabs a microphone. He says, "I was told I can't have The Undertaker tonight, so I'll just have to wait until next week. In the meantime, I'd like to cause some pain and torment. So I'm officially issuing Mankind's Hardcore Open Challenge. Who's brave or stupid enough to answer it?" And the answer to that question is...
You didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
Road Dogg comes out with a microphone. He says, "That's right, Masked Man. It's me. It's that D-O-double-G. And I'm here to get back into the mix of things with a win over you Mr. Hanky look-alike. But this holiday season, I ain't here to show you the true meaning of Christmas. I'm here to show you the true meaning of an ass whooping." So the match starts off in the ring, quickly spills outside. They dig up a ton of weapons from under the ring and beat each other with them. They end up battling up onto the stage where Road Dogg tries to pump handle slam Mankind right off the edge of the stage, but Mankind reverses it into a hip toss to Road Dogg off the stage through 2 tables. Billy Gunn now runs out, but Mankind anticipates it. He sees him coming, and he hip tosses him off the stage as well, right next to Road Dogg through another table. Mankind then dives off of the top of the stage onto both of them with an elbow drop. The referee counts 1, 2, 3. Mankind wins the Hardcore Open Challenge. All right. I only got one more interview and then a match. Up next, Seg 9. Armando Alejandro Estrada is backstage with Bret Hart, he asked Bret what his final comments are on tonight's main event match between him and Ric Flair. Bret says, "I guess it's true the squeaky wheel usually gets the grease. You see, I was drafted behind 4 other men who I don't think deserve to be drafted ahead of me. But did I whine and cry and complain about where I got drafted back in October? No. I laced up my boots, I went out there like I always do, and I did my talking in the ring. Ric Flair, there's no secret I don't like you, and I don't even respect you. I think you're a one-trick pony that doesn't deserve to be where he is today. You cheated, you stole, and you made it here to the semifinals of the World Heavyweight Title Tournament. But this is your final stop. I didn't stop you last night from taking out Hulk Hogan because I like Hogan or because I had some weird sense of justice inside of me. I stopped you from injuring Hulk Hogan because, unlike you, when I take him on at Winter Jam, I want him to be at the top of his game. I want Hulk Hogan to be at 100% so that when I beat him and win the Jakk'd Heavyweight title, there are no excuses. Tonight, Rick, I'm going to prove once again that I'm the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be." And we go to our final commercial break of the night. When we come back, it is the semifinals of the Jakk'd Heavyweight Title Tournament. First, we get Bret the Hitman Hart comes out to a huge ovation from the crowd, slapping hands, giving away his glasses to a kid at ringside. And now we get the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, who comes out to a chorus of boos. All right, the match starts off with the 2 men beating on each other for a while with pure hatred until Ric Flair goes for a waistlock. The men do amateur wrestling for a while and go back and forth, hold for hold. Both keep trying to work on each other's legs. Bret finally gets the advantage for a while and picks apart Flair's back. Flair crawls onto the apron, and when Bret goes to grab him, Flair hot shots him over the middle rope. This allows Flair to hit a chop block and work on Hart's legs for a while. When he goes for the figure 4, though, Bret kicks him off into the referee, knocking him out. Brett gets dropped by Flair again, and Flair goes for the figure four, but Brett rolls him into a small package, but the referee is out. The crowd counts to about 10 before we see a second referee, rush to the ring, and he slides in, but Flair kicks out at 2 when that ref starts to count. Brett gets the advantage now, and he hits a backbreaker and then locks in the sharpshooter. Flair fights it for a while, and he kicks Brett off into the second referee, knocking him out. Finally comes down to both men going to the top rope, and Brett hits a top back suplex off the top rope onto Ric Flair, and he bridges up for the pin, but Flair is also on top of Brett's shoulders. Both referees are up at the same time. They both count the pin from different angles. 1, 2, 3. But who won? We don't know. The referees we are now at Seg 11. The referees are finally up on their feet, arguing with each other over who won the match. And they can't decide. One is holding up Flair's hand. The other one's holding up Brett's hand. And then for the second time tonight, we get Eric Bischoff storms out onto the stage and stomps to the ring with a microphone in his hand. He says, "My good Lord, you have got to be kidding me right now." And he starts shouting at the referees off mic. Then he pulls the microphone up. He says, "Do you idiots know how important this freaking match is? We need results. But since you were both sanctioned officials, I can't reverse either one of your decisions, unfortunately. But even more unfortunately, we're out of time on this show, so I can't restart the damn match. The only solution I've got is that next week in the main event of Jakk'd, we're going to do this again. We're going to have a rematch, but this time it's going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match to avoid anything like this from happening again. Got it? Now go home and rest up. Next week is going to be for all the marbles." The referees hold Bret Hart and Ric Flair back from shoving each other as Bischoff leaves, and we close the show. All right.
That was fun.
You like that? I know there was a lot of interviews, everything. I hope it didn't bore people.
Bro.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. I tried to. I know some of it dragged out a little bit, but like I said, there was a lot of interviews and stuff that needed to happen to kind of set up stuff later on. And there weren't a whole lot of matches I had in mind for this week, so that's coming in coming weeks, bro. We're gonna have more wrestling.
Still a television show.
Yeah. So all right, well that is the main event figure federation, the return edition from the pay-per-view. Very proud of our work so far, Greg. Thank you for joining me again here.
Mm-hmm.
And next week is going to be our first official main event figure federation Monday Night War of December. It's going to be on December 7th. And also, for those of you who don't keep up with the main event Mark's podcast every Wednesday, you really should. We're dropping a new one in 2 days on December 2nd. It is Starrcade 1990 Collision Course. That was, I'll say, an interesting show.
Yeah. I did have fun with it, though.
Yeah, it was fun. We went a little long with it, but it was fun. So, but all right, man.
It's weird how it was a lot to dive in on that show. It was weird.
I know. I honestly thought I was like, I don't know how much we're going to get to on this one. Yeah, it is what it is. Whatever. We'll figure it out. But you and I always, figure different weird stuff to talk about, either whether it's relevant to us, relevant to the show, whatever. We always find something to keep it interesting. So
it's fun when it's WCW, the wrestling.
Yeah. Well, we've been doing the show for over for 7 months at this point, and there's only been one show that we had scheduled that we completely threw out and called an audible on. So
yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, so I mean that's pretty good though. I mean we're able to even if it's not a great show, we're able to make chicken salad out of chicken excrement, I'll say.
Excrement.
Yeah.
Why do you have to bring up AEW? Jeez.
Wow. That's effed up on so many levels.
Is that how they call Excalibur? Or,
Oh, gosh.
that's what Cornette calls Excalibur. He calls him excrement.
I forgot about that. I try to forget a lot of things that idiot has to say.
Some of it just sticks, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
That and Twinkle Toes McFinger Bang. I can't get those ones out of my head, ever.
Yeah. Well, didn't you say something about... because Greg recently sent me a Kenny Omega figure that he found in the wild, actually, which was shocking as hell. But he sent one to me, and didn't you say something about, I gotta send you his extra McFinger Bangs or something like that?
Yep.
Which are his extra hands, for those of you that don't know.
McFinger Bang. I love that.
Yeah, that one, I was like, what the hell? And he comes up with a lot of weird nicknames, but that one. All right, man. But anyway, that does it for another edition. We hope you all enjoyed yourself. Like I said, mine dragged on, so I'm glad, Greg's was a little short this week. Next week will be a little tighter for me for time. So it is what it is. But thank you for joining me again, Greg. And we'll see you this Wednesday for Main Event Marks, and we'll see you next Monday for the Main Event Figure Federation.